You know that feeling of after eating pizza, you feel like you can't move for the rest of the day, or your stomach is just stuck in one spot? It's so full that you can't even eat dinner that night. You wonder why you wake up the next day and you just don't feel like yourself. You look at other people and you wonder, how do they have so much energy? How are they so happy and alive? I wish I were that way. And that's why I'm going to tell you the 7 strange symptoms that I had going on with my health until I was done eating gluten. As a disclaimer, I'm not a physician, I'm not a dietitian. I'm just here to share my journey in hopes that it inspires you and helps you on your own health journey. Let's jump in. The first gluten sensitivity symptom that I had that completely just wrecked me was brain fog. I felt like there was a cloud sitting on my head at all times. I couldn't focus. I couldn't form a coherent thought. I felt like when I was engaging in conversation that I just wasn't actually there. Like something was always just mystified over me. There was just this haze, a grogginess that just wasn't going away. This brain fog had me battling bouts of depression where I didn't feel like myself. I felt insecure or just in this dark, weird void. I just know that I'm sad 24/7 and life should be better than this. It's almost embarrassing to admit, but it altered my personality and my decision-making skills. I had no clue how to have direction or to smile and genuinely care about other people because I was so caught up in my world of just like not feeling well. That girl that I was is not who I was made to be. And it was really confusing, heartbreaking, and isolating. The brain fog that I had caused me to have the lowest energy levels you could ever imagine. I mean, I could not get through one day without dreaming about a nap. I just always felt tired. I never felt energized to go to work or hang out with my friends or be creative to even make a plan to do something like go walk in the park or take a hike or go grab a coffee with someone. The second gluten sensitivity symptom that I had was skin problems everywhere. You name it, I had it. I had eczema on my hands that was so itchy. You couldn't even really tell that it was there. It just would bubble up after I had like a stressful event or I ate too many cookies the week before. Your girl loves some cookies. So I would always get like an eczema patch on my left hand. It was on my ring finger. It just was the itchiest thing ever. I had extremely painful heel cracks. This sounds really weird, but the heels of my feet would crack so deeply and so painfully that it would be really, really hard to walk. I had dry and flaky lips too. And no matter how much water I drank or how much lip gloss I put on, the dryness just stayed there. And I had extreme itchiness on my legs, so much so that I had to go to the dermatologist about it. And they looked me over and they were like, hey, we don't see anything topically going on. Not sure what's going on with you. I just remember nights where I couldn't even fall asleep because my entire leg was just so insanely itchy. Along the lines of itchiness, my head was also always itchy. I think I just had so much inflammation going on. And along the lines of skin, I had acne that I had no idea how to get rid of. So I actually turned to medicine for this, and I used some sort of a cream that I would have to put on my forehead at night. And it basically just dried it all out. And it did work. Don't get me wrong, it worked. But it always came back if I stopped using the cream. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, something else is going on if this acne keeps popping up. And with my skin, I had what's called chicken skin. So I had tiny little bumps all over my skin. It was rough, not smooth skin at all. Something that I was almost embarrassed about. The third gluten sensitivity symptom that I had was joint pain and stiffness. So it all started in my left wrist. One day was scootering on my little scooter when I was in middle school and hit a rock and went over my scooter and broke my wrist. From that day on, I always had pain when rain would come, and I thought that it was about the weather that would give me pain, but it actually turned out it was my diet that was making me inflamed. My body is connected to nature and it's in pain when there's a storm coming. And it may be as crazy as that. It could be like that. But at the end of the day, it was my diet that was causing me to have wrist pain. I also would wake up and my fingers would be really stiff. And I just thought this was a normal thing. Like, people lay down for bed, they've been laying down for a long time, and it causes their fingers to swell and be stiff in the morning, and then it goes away. Well, that's not actually how your fingers are supposed to be. I just didn't know that. Kind of later on, I had this weird pain bubbling up in my left knee that was like this dull ache. When I walked around, it was just kind of like this little burning fire inside of there. This actually was going on when I was training for a half marathon. And I was like, well, maybe it's because I'm running a lot more. I've never been a runner in my life. This is something new that I'm trying for the first time. Maybe it's that. The fourth gluten sensitivity problem that I had going on with my health was brittle hair and nails. My hair would not grow for the life of me. It kind of stayed right here and would never go past, no matter if I changed up my routine or started taking different vitamins or whatever it was. My hair just would not grow. I still am on quite the hair journey after having 3 kids, but there has been a major difference since taking gluten out of my diet. When it comes to my nails, I always had problems with my nails. I just kind of thought, oh, it's the way I was born. But your nails are actually supposed to be very strong and smooth and almost shiny. I never had that. I just always had like these little ridges and layers. So I just kind of took it as it was. But now things have really changed. The fifth odd symptom I had going on with my health was a bunch of sinus issues. So when I went to the orthodontist to get fitted for braces many years ago, she looked at my scan. She was like, how do you even breathe? I had no clue what she was talking about. And she's like, look at your left nostril. It's completely blocked. And then it dawned on me, oh yeah, I have not been able to breathe for years now. But that all changed after I took gluten out of my diet, which was so wild to me. I think there was some sort of like a nasal polyp inside. I know you can get surgery to remove it, but this actually went away on its own. I'm not saying the same for you, but that was my experience. The second thing going on with my sinuses was I had like this drip all the time. I would wake up and I'd just kind of be sniffling throughout the morning, really throughout the whole day. And once again, I just thought this was a normal thing that people dealt with. But I'm here to tell you, if you have a constant nasal drip, it's not normal. And with that nasal drip, I also had stuffy nose problems. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just around people all the time. Maybe my immune system is weak and I'm constantly dealing with a bug or something. And, maybe that was the case, but things did change after I changed my diet. The sixth weird symptom I had going on was ear problems. My ears used to ring constantly. Call me crazy, but this is another thing that I just thought people are dealing with. Their ears are ringing all day, every day, and especially when they lay down at nighttime. Come to find out, that's actually a thing called tinnitus, and I had no idea. I just thought, oh, I'm like everyone else, and we all have broken bodies, and this just is what it is, and I'll take it for what it's worth. Another problem I had was itchiness inside of my ear canal. This was a super odd one and almost just annoying and frustrating because it would itch all the time, and I felt like I just couldn't focus on anything. I constantly had like itchy skin, itchy ears, ringing in the ears, something going on with my brain. It just was constant and never ending. The seventh and final gluten sensitivity symptom I had was bloating and overall swelling. Sometimes the bloating was so painful that I would go right home and put my stretchy pants on and chill because the bloating was very real. I also had this overall swelling that what I think is like water retention from some inflammation that was going on inside of me. I looked puffier than I actually was. A lot of the times I also dealt with swollen toes and swollen fingers after going on a long walk or a hike. I just was like, oh, it makes sense because circulation, you're swinging your arms a lot as you're hiking. I wouldn't even be able to like take my rings off. And I just thought, oh, this is normal. Other people in my life weren't having the same problem. And so I realized as a culmination with all these things, hey, something's got to be going on. I had spoken to a physician and done some of my own reading and realized, hey, you know what? Maybe it's gluten. Maybe I should take gluten out of my diet and see if anything goes away. At the time, I didn't realize I had all of these symptoms going on, mainly because it was just noise in the back of my head or life just goes on. But once I took gluten out of my diet, I realized how much better I felt. And I was like, oh, this is how it feels to be a healthy human. At the end of the day, I had to listen to my body and figure out what it was saying. I realized if I had changed my diet, switched some lifestyle things around, then maybe some of these things would go away. They all did. Also, at the end of the day, you need to know yourself. If any of this resonates with you, maybe you feel like you should take gluten out of your diet. If you have no idea if you have any health symptoms even going on, I would encourage you to take 2 weeks, jot down how you're waking up, how you feel around your midday, and how you feel when you're going to bed. Do you have anything going on? Oh, maybe I've overlooked that for a few years. Or yeah, I've been dealing with this joint pain and it has been bugging me so badly. And then after you take stock of what you have going on inside of you, you may need to ask yourself the question, how does removing gluten from my diet feel for me? Does it bring me anxiety? Does it bring me curiosity? If it brings you anxiety, maybe just take it off the table and kind of mull it over mentally first. After you've kind of toyed with the idea, you could taper it off. You could start by swapping your lunch sandwich with some homemade sourdough bread, or you can go to your local farmer's market and grab some, or you can just go to the supermarket and grab a loaf of sourdough. The fermentation process of making sourdough eats most of the gluten out of it, and then go from there. Maybe you swap out breakfast cereal for some oatmeal, or you swap out your noodles for some rice. If you are curious about it, go for it. See what happens to your health and let me know how it's going for you. If I could do it all over again 5 years ago, I would take a trial run. I would do it for 2 weeks, see how I felt, and then I would put it back into my diet and see if any of the symptoms came back. If you do this trial run and you add gluten back into your diet, you can see if any of your old symptoms pop back up for you again. If they do, you can consider yourself a bit gluten sensitive. If they don't come back for you, then consider yourself blessed, my friend, because that is a beautiful thing. If you know what you plan on doing, let me know. I'd love to hear it. I nerd out about all of this stuff. Have a beautiful, amazing, glorious day.